After the artist finished the first song, they hit the last chord, they get hit with this energy. It's like, usually they'll do this, like, go, whoa, all right.
They're used to having to kind of fight for that engagement. The audience that we have is ready for that engagement from the moment they sit down.
And we've had guys that have played stadiums. They had #1 records. And they'll say things like, this is my favorite venue I've ever played. There's not a lot of places that you can be just that close. If you're in the front row, you can touch them. You know, some people have.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Grew up in Winifred, Montana. I knew I wanted to do music, but I had no idea how I was gonna get there.
There's just something.
I knew I had some equipment, and I was passionate about songwriting. Landed in Bozeman and just started working. About the time I opened the studio, I met Doc.
Jason acquired the front room and wanted to do some house concerts. He got a hero of his to play, Mike Beck.
Doc said, I'm gonna record this night. And he did. He told me, hey, I listened to that recording. It's really good. And he proposed the idea of a public radio program. I just wanted to keep having great songwriters in the room. Doc came in and filled out the rest of that vision.
I went to KGLT and said, hey, if I put together a show, would you air it? They said, sure. A few months later, it started airing.
Trying to book talent for the show, I didn't even know where to start. I created like a special form that I made up and I sent to an agent, and he just wrote back and he goes, I don't know what this is, but here's what I need. And he kind of showed me how. I was like, oh, good. You know? Then I just started emailing everybody. Like, it just didn't matter. Over time, a few of them started to take a chance on this little room in Bozeman. In a lot of cases, these bands really were national acts. We had Sturgill Simpson before he was on the cover of Rolling Stone and all these things. I was reaching out to them, I was trying to get them to play our little room, but when they'd say yes, no one was more surprised than me. In a 50-seat room, it's very difficult to make it work economically. And we knew that. From the beginning, we knew that. We were just always on the edge, 2 to 5, on a good night, 10 people. I think Doc and I are both a little crazy because we kept going.
I was gonna push till the wheels fell off. So if the wheels fell off, that'd be okay.
On the hardest day for us to, just kind of keep working for free, we were capturing Hayes Carll, Ray Wiley Hubbard, J.D. Souther, who wrote for the Eagles. Because the recordings were so great and it was so special, we kind of had an idea what it could, grow into. Even though in the process it was extremely painful. The other thing that is a huge motivator is the artists themselves.
I never saw you coming.
This is the 3rd summer in a row where we've made a stop in Bozeman just for this, because it's one of our favorite things in the world. At the root of everything, I'm a songwriter, I'm a storyteller, and this gives me the ability to kind of showcase that.
The audience is always open, almost immediately. That openness takes a minute to go, oh, these people are here for this.
They're not here to talk, they're not here to drink, they're not here to, socialize, they're here to hear the songs. 90 minutes of people actually caring about what you have to say.
It's just so much better to be like up close and personal with people. We're all in this together, it's like, and we feed off you 100%.
There's no middleman between the fan and the artist and the fan. That relationship is what we're trying to capture.
What happens organically in the room between the artist and the crowd, that's the magic. That's the stuff that's almost unattainable. Although we did a lot of this with intention, stuff like that, it happened on its own. All we wanted to do was give songwriters a quiet place with a great listening audience. And then kind of from that, we've gotten so much more out of it. This year, the strangest things started to happen. Bands that I had no idea knew we existed would tell us, like, you know, I've been hearing about Live from the Divide for 2 years or something. And I'm like, 2 years? I've been trying to book you for 3, you know? It's hard to explain how much that means to us because it validates years of work and being away from our families and doing all these crazy things. It's important to get feedback from all over the country that we're doing something cool. I've been trying to record my own music for way longer than I wanted to have a studio or do any of this. The podcast portion, I get to chat with them about songwriting. And a lot of these guys are my heroes. So there's moments where I have to, like, you know, pep talk myself. The way they approach songwriting, how they came into music, what influences them. I always ask the same question at the end, and that's, what advice would you give to somebody that's interested in being a songwriter? Sometimes it's like, don't do it. I get that a lot. Be a lawyer. I think we're at like 315 shows over the past 6 years. From day one, we had the support of the community of Bozeman. Without that, we probably would not be around. The future plans for Live from the Divide are, don't change anything.
The magic, in my opinion, is the fact that we're a small venue. I don't want to be something else. I want to be us.
If we expanded into a larger room, at some point, you would lose the element of why it works in that building.
You folks said we'd never see our first anniversary.
I met this guy through my wife's family. He ran a venue called the Grandy Ballroom in Detroit that had a big hand in bringing bands from the British invasion from England over. I remember asking him, well, how did you do that? Like, how did you get these bands in? And he said, well, I just asked. And when he said that, it just seemed like the most obvious thing. Of course, like, what another great lesson. When you're starting from zero, all you can do is ask. People ask me that all the time. Well, how do you get this person? Or, you know, what are you doing? It's like, yeah, I'm just asking them if they want to play.